Hey, everybody, and welcome to From My Mother's Basement, the show that celebrates being a geek. I'm Jason.
And I am Michael, and good evening to you all this happy BlizzCon weekend.
So many awesome things happened over the past, two
Dude,
days?
what's really we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, there was some really cool stuff. So for those of you who don't know, and yes, I'm going to jump ahead. I'm sorry, Jason, unless you wanted to lead this little train, in which case I'll shut up and let you do it.
Go for it.
For those of you who play WoW or Diablo or StarCraft or Hearthstone, or were lucky enough like me to get in the technical alpha for Heroes of the Storm, BlizzCon was this weekend. And while unfortunately I was unable to get a physical ticket, although at $200 a pop, that's probably a good thing. I was able to purchase the virtual ticket, which was only $40, which aside from getting you the various in-game goodies, also lets you access the live streams of all the major panel stages, all the esports events. Although to be fair, the esports events were free broadcast elsewhere. But you got to see all the panels, and you got to see the opening ceremonies, which they broadcast the opening ceremonies free, but you also got to see the closing ceremonies, including the Metallica concert.
Envy is as hell for that one.
Was badass. Oh my god, was that awesome. They kicked ass. They seriously kicked ass.
Nice.
But there was a lot of really cool things that happened. Like so many new cool things that it kind of overshadowed what myself and a lot of other WoW players think should have been the primary focus, which was the fact that this is the 20th anniversary of Warcraft Orcs and Humans and the 10-year anniversary of World of Warcraft. They mentioned it, they talked about it a little bit, but they paid it mostly lip service.
Yeah.
Because it got blown away by the announcement of Blizzard's new IP. I'm still convinced they trolled us about Project Titan, and that they didn't actually cancel it, and that it was actually this, but they say they didn't. They say there are elements of Titan in this, but it's not Titan.
I can
What
kind
am
of
I
believe
talking
that.
about, Jason?
Should we just play the trailer and talk afterwards?
Play the initial trailer. We'll talk after.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, so that's their new IP, Overwatch, and it's first off, that video was amazing. It's like Blizzard meets Pixar.
It really was.
And that whole thing at the end was like straight out of The Incredibles. You know, that was awesome. Basically, what Overwatch is Blizzard has a habit of taking games and taking their own spin on them. They did it with the RTS genre when they did Warcraft and StarCraft, and now they're decided and then they did it with card games with Hearthstone, obviously World of Warcraft for MMOs, and Diablo for adventure games. Now they've decided, okay, we're gonna do well. First off, they did Heroes of the Storm, which is basically what was originally dubbed Blizzard Dota,
right?
And now, so they're moving into what they call it the team oriented, or was it team action brawlers? I think is what they call them.
Something like that.
Other people just call them MOBAs. And then now they're deciding they're going to take a shot at first person shooters. The first thing, if you run the video of the gameplay options, the first thing that came to my mind, and apparently everybody else's mind too, is like, oh, they're going head to head against TF2. And that's not an unfair comparison, because if you look at the graphics of the game and the maps and whatnot, it's TF2 on crack. I mean, on massive steroids. The quality's better.
It really is.
The zones, the maps, and the neat thing about their take on it is, it's not, most of your TF2 maps, while there's some vertical elements, they're mostly a horizontal element, you know. These vertical's just as important as horizontal, and just the differences in how they're running a lot of this. The closest one you could compare it to would be TF2. But you could also, people are saying that, oh, they're ripping off Valve. No, they're not ripping off Valve.
No.
Because if that's true, then they're also ripping off Quake, Unreal Tournament. Um, I mean, Battlefield. I mean, they're just taking their step into the FPS genre, and
Yeah.
I honestly think that their version, I can't wait to play.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly jealous of all the people who were at BlizzCon because they set up like several
200
hundred,
machines.
yeah, machines for to play the early alpha of this.
Well, exactly. It's the initial. It's the current state of the game, and they had 12 heroes available for it.
Now,
So
these are just the initial 12 announced classes. There's probably going to be more.
yeah, no, there are definitely plans for more.
I love this guy's arrow that actually splits
Hanzo?
off. Yeah, Hanzo's.
When he does his special attack.
There was several people that I knew that were actually there at BlizzCon, so they got a chance to sit and play it, and their response was, it's definitely Team Fortress 2-esque, but it runs a little slower in terms of the pacing, kind of more like Halo multiplayer, the original Halo multiplayer.
Well, yeah, it's not just Twitch based, which now they make a big deal about the fact that you can, you don't. They have support classes and heal classes and build classes. It's like, well, okay, yes, so does TF2.
I'm curious to see.
I mean, when you show Mercy there, she's doing that whole heal beam. That's straight out of the Doctor, the medic in TF2.
Yeah, exactly. And
but there's spin on it.
Oh yeah, I gotta say, like all the character designs, all the animations, everything that I've seen so far about Overwatch just screams not only quality in terms of the production values, but just looks so much fun.
Oh yeah, it looks like a ton of fun, and it's quality. I mean, it looks like I've enjoyed playing TF2 a bit here and there, but I never really got deep into it. But watching the Overwatch and seeing it played, and they did a thing. they did the first official, for lack of a better term, shoutcast of an Overwatch game that was that they did at the Blizzard offices, where they had a couple of their guys basically announcing it.
Nice.
And they have this thing they talked about called there's this move called the Killdozer. That's the nickname it's taken. It's not official or anything.
Okay.
But one of the maps has a payload map where you have to escort a payload from, well, first off you have to capture the point to get to the payload. Then you take the payload and you escort it from point B to point C. And as long as you're on the payload or right next to it, it's moving slowly towards its goal. If you get off of it, it stops in place. If you're off of it long enough, it starts to move backwards. So this is a nice spin on the thing. Well, the fun thing is that Torbjorn is his name, the dwarf character.
Yes.
It was like building the turrets. He was basically the engineer. I get that, but he's the engineer, much cooler.
Yes.
He will get up on top of the payload and set up a turret, and then they'll throw a shield over it, and this thing's virtually unstoppable for a while. And it got the nickname of the Killdozer.
Okay, that's actually pretty awesome.
So they're going down the thing, and he's got this super turret on it, and it's just wasting everything in its path as it's going down its path to its goal. The thing is, what's really cool is, and the reason I think this is more Project Titan than they're admitting, or they just flat out trolled us 6 months ago, is they asked flat out during the panel for Overwatch, is this Titan? Is this what Titan was supposed to be? And Metzen said flat out, no, it's not. When we announced 3 months ago that we were killing Titan, that had actually happened almost a year ago. I'm like, so you did fucking troll us. But they took a lot of elements from Titan. I'm guessing they're saying that they built. They were saying that the alpha first hit the offices about 4 months ago, and they had 4 characters to start. Now they're showing us this high-end cinematic and extremely polished gameplay with 12 characters. Blizzard's good,
but you don't think they're that
are
good?
They? I don't believe that. I find it hard to believe that they're that good, considering they were also working on Warlords of Draenor and working on the next StarCraft game, which is something else they announced.
Here's the thing, though. They have more than one team working on all of these. So, I mean, I could see it easily happening. And in terms of the quality of the cinematic, given the fact of how much effort they put into their own source engine, for the source filmmaker, and how have you seen
But they're not using source filmmaker.
You think
they're not Valve?
Well, what I'm saying
they
is
do all their stuff in Maya.
That's what I'm saying. If you can have Valve do something like that and have people who are just using this basic program and create some pretty epic stuff in the matter of a few months, then take all the pros at Blizzard and use their talents, focus just on this, I think they could easily pull it off in less than 6 months. At least the cinematic, at least.
Well, the cinematic, yeah, maybe. But even ignoring the cinematic, because the cinematic doesn't reveal any gameplay; it just reveals the world and the characters.
Sure, you're talking about the polish of the level design and whatnot.
The polish of the level designs, because they had like 4 maps showing.
Mm-hmm.
They had 12 playable classes, and a lot of voice acting already done. I mean, they've been working on this for more than 6 months, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, and that just may be me being a pseudo wannabe throat beard. I don't know. But speaking of throat beard, after we talk about StarCraft, remind me to tell you a funny little bit about that.
All right.
That happened at BlizzCon.
Okay.
So they did Overwatch, and that it was Overwatch this, Overwatch that, Tracer this, Tracer that, because they're really pushing Tracer.
Tracer looks very OP or overpowered.
She's not.
Because especially the whole be able to step backwards in time.
Well, the thing is, she can blink. That's her ability. Is her primary. She's got her main attack. Then she has this ability to blink, but she can only do it 3 times, and then it has to wait for a recharge cycle. Okay. So it's not like instant OP. The reset is kind of an ingenious little bit, because they showed in the battle they showed that she like blinked up to a place, dropped the bomb, her ultimate, which is the pulse bomb, and then reset back. So the bomb's there, she's back here, and they were talking about how when you're playing against Tracer, it's not if you're a sniper, say, you can't be tracking. Okay, she's over here. You also have to be in the back of your head tracking. Where was she 3 seconds ago? Because when she activates it, she goes to wherever she was 3 seconds ago,
right,
and to the same level of health she had 3 seconds ago.
Ooh, see, now you're getting into massive OP status there.
It can be, but there's other stuff to counterbalance that.
All right.
Winston's amusing. Winston, because they have 2 tanks, so they basically have 2 tanks, 4 high-end deeps, 2 healers, and a couple other support classes. There was the one chick that puts up light turrets and then teleporters, and then there's Mercy, the angel character, who is basically the medic with wings. But that's pretty awesome. Obviously, Overwatch overshadowed everything at the con. I mean,
yeah,
it was pretty much all most people were talking about, even though they had a lot of other cool stuff, including the 3rd chapter of the StarCraft 2 trilogy,
the Legacy of the Void.
Legacy of the Void, which is basically, if you think about it, it makes sense. The first one was Wings of Liberty, which is the Terrans. Next one is Queen of Blades? No. What was the second one? Was it Queen of Blades?
I want to say it was Queen of Blades, yeah.
Okay, well, the second one's Zerg.
Yeah.
So the only other race left is the Protoss. So that's what that's going to focus on, is the Protoss and the return of the Xel'Naga. And the neat thing about this one is, if you have the other games, if you have Wings of Liberty and Queen of Blades, it's not that Heart of the Swarm. That's it. I'm sorry. It's Heart of the Swarm. If you have Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty, it will effectively be the next step. But you don't have to have them.
Which is nice. It allows for people.
Legacy of the Void is standalone.
For a lot of people who have, like me, who probably watched the tournaments and then very noobishly played StarCraft 2 a little bit, just the first setup. To know that I have
StarCraft 2?
I have just StarCraft 2. I have none of the expansions.
Oh.
So it's literally one of those things that I really haven't gone too far deep into it.
We need to do something about that, my man, because I have Wings of Liberty also. So
Okay.
you and I need to like start practicing together.
All right, we'll hit up BlizzCon for next year.
There you go.
But I do like the fact that with this one is that for newcomers to the game, to the series, that they don't have to pick up all of those past ones in order to be current. That's actually really nice.
It is. I mean, you're not going to get all the story of the first two.
True.
Because one of the great things about StarCraft and the StarCraft universe is the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not going to get all of that, but you're going to get all of the gameplay. You're going to get the new units. You're going to get the old units. You just won't get the storyline that goes with it. You won't get the whole thing with Tychus. And
True. But you still get the multiplayer aspect, the competitive aspect of it. And with Legacy of the Void, you have this new, it's called the Archon mode.
The Archon?
The Archon mode.
Archon mode?
Where you have two players who actually control the same base, and you fight against two other players who are cooperatively doing the same thing on the other side of the map.
Yeah, basically
that
it's
is
co-op
cool.
mode.
I love that.
But can you imagine the mechanics that are involved in that?
But come on. BlizzCon, StarCraft 2 World Championship Finals next year with that in place.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Come on.
No, it's gonna be. It's awesome to watch in the beginning. The other thing they did is they had of course, the World of Warcraft Invitational Complete championships. I didn't follow that very much because I'm sorry, I'm not a PvPer. I mean, in case of a game like StarCraft, you kind of have to be to an extent, but. And WoW, you don't. I'm not a big fan of that. But they also had the Hearthstone Championships,
which I really found myself like watching very intently. Which I thought.
Have you played?
I have a Hearthstone on my iPad.
Okay, we need to play then because the game is a hell of a lot of fun.
It is.
And I really am jazzed for the one dude because he was like kind of shocked. You know, he won a grip ton of money, but also he has the honor of being the first ever Hearthstone world champ.
Yeah, that is something to be said.
I mean that's zip, boom, you just won the nerd argument. You know?
it was impressive, and I'm actually looking forward to the
expansion.
The expansion, Goblins versus Gnomes.
Do you love how they trolled us on the intro to that?
Yes.
They're just like going, yes, you've got these people are going against these people, and of course you've got the goblins and the gnomes. And it's just like, oh my God, really? A lot of shit's gonna go boom.
Yes. And they're like throwing a lot at this one. This is actually going to include
it's like over 100 new cards.
Yeah, 120 new cards. That's
gonna be awesome.
Oh, so good.
Although I'm having a hard time getting through Curse of Naxxramas as it is. Dude, have you played that?
I've only played like the very beginning of it, and I failed
just going through the
miserably.
I'm just going through the Spider Quarter. I'm on I think the last boss of the Spider Quarter. Bitch cheats. The spider, I swear to God, it cheats. I had it down to 3 points. And it did something and I was at 20. It did something where I wasn't able to attack at that turn because it threw my card back in my hand.
Okay.
And then the next turn, it had some other weird defense that kept me from attacking it. And it just had, all of a sudden, there's 5 critters on the board, and they're all boom, 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 dead. And I'm like, motherfucker.
See, at that point, though, when this expansion hits and all these new cards and you start collecting them, you'll get to that point, and then if you can pull Explosive Sheep, I think you'd be fine.
The Explosive Sheep's going to be awesome.
What else was there at BlizzCon? Ah, yes, Heroes
of
the movie. Yes, let's talk about that movie because the movie.
The World of Warcraft movie, the Warcraft movie has been talked about since the second BlizzCon, which is the one I went to, the first one I went to rather. And that's when they announced that it was going to be Legendary and whatnot, who was doing it. They've gone through multiple directors on it, and the guy they've got now, it actually plays the game, which is a hint that they're in good hands. And a couple of the actors are actually hardcore players. Specifically, the guy playing Orgrim, Rob Kaczynski, has logged. If he hit his /play, and he's determined that he's played over 500 days over, a year and a half of his life in WoW.
It was absolutely impressive when he started going on and on about everything he's done in game over the years.
Yeah, and then Hardwick's like, oh, somebody just threw their nerd dick on the table.
Oh.
Having Chris Hardwick host that panel was awesome.
Having Chris Hardwick and all of Nerdist attached to BlizzCon just seemed to be like the right fit for everything.
It was totally, and it was a lot of fun. And they had, but the movie they've wrapped principal shooting. They're not going to release till March of 2016. And the reason for that, over 1,500 CG shots.
It's just post-production.
And it's ILM that's doing it. So they had... Oh, there's Mr. Kaczynski there.
Well, this is the part he's talking about.
He's talking about... No, this is where he's talking about how to walk like an orc.
Exactly. And the whole process he went through and whatnot.
And they had a preview, if you were lucky enough to go to BlizzCon, which we weren't, that you can only see if you were there. So it wasn't even there on the virtual ticket, where they had Dolby come in, set up a complete Atmos setup on the 3rd floor.
That had to be where
which means you know which room that was in.
I know exactly which room that was. And
did a full Dolby Atmos setup and did basically a teaser of current state of the movie. Not the full movie, but it was like a 5-7 minute teaser trailer. And towards the end, they actually had an effect scene that was 80% complete, so you actually got to see where they're going with the orcs. And everyone who's seen it has said that it's next level. I mean, this is they're calling. I've heard a couple people or seen a couple people refer to it as better than Avatar as far as the quality and the emotion that's being able to be transmitted through these characters, just in the eyes alone.
See, that is to be expected as things progress in terms of technology, but still, that's always impressive as hell.
Oh yeah, totally. Having these people played by people who actually, or made by people who actually play the game. The guy in the interview, they had the head of special effects for ILM for this project there, and he was talking about how they were on set. And he plays mages, so he's there playing a mage, and he's having to tell the guy who's playing Medivh, and oh god, what was the other mage that was there? Khadgar, telling them how to cast the spells. They're like, no, you're not doing it right. You got to do it like this, because he's seen it in the game.
The fact that they're willing to go to that extreme is just proof that it's in the right hands.
It's in the right hands, and I think it's actually good. This makes me very optimistic that it's going to be worth the wait. And the fact that they're not doing some BS side story also.
Right.
They finally, announced what the story is, and that it's, about the time of Duratan and Ogrim, and which is the guy who Orgrimmar is named after, who's played by Rob Kaczynski. And I just can't wait for this damn movie.
I do have to say, 2016 cannot come soon enough. I do have to say, though, I was pretty envious of people who were actually at this panel, because they pulled like a Comic-Con Hall H kind of thing at the end. Where
they did, where
they brought some guy with a giant boom mic out and on stage and basically said, all right, well, there's a couple scenes in the movie that we need this crowd scream, and we want to record you guys, so we're going to put you guys in the movie. So they did, for the Alliance, for the Horde, and then finally for Azeroth.
And obviously, you could tell there was more Horde present, because the Hordes was louder.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Well, Horde's always been louder and more obnoxious, but
when they did the For Azeroth, and it was everybody, can you imagine if you had been in that room, how that must have just rattled the room?
Even just listening to it on the stream, and For Azeroth, and then echo. I'm like,
oh yeah.
We've been in that room. That's a huge room for that to be echoed like that.
Yeah, Hall D is gigantic, and we were watching it here. I had it streaming on my HTPC in the living room, and that thing goes, and it's just like, wow. I am so envious. I wish I was there.
We will try again next year.
We are going to try next year. We will definitely. In fact, Nikki and I have already determined that we're going to get a group of people together. You will probably be among them, or maybe not. It's up to you. And we are going to camp that site.
I'll just create a botnet and just go after that.
Create a botnet to go after tickets. And even that wasn't all they announced.
Nope.
Heroes of the Storm is finally going public beta.
Well, I'm already in the private beta, but yeah, still. Awesome.
I'm in the tech alpha too. But
so much fun.
January 16th. Heroes of the Storm goes public beta. Blizzard's answer to Dota / League of Legends / whatever, using all of their characters. I've played it. It's a grip ton of fun.
It really is. Just wait till now that's going to be out in public beta, which means hopefully by next BlizzCon there will actually be a competition for it.
Maybe, because if they're going public beta in in January, they could release as early as May or June.
Yeah.
For final release.
I'm looking forward. Go ahead.
No, backtracking a little bit. Heroes of the Storm is going to be free. They're going to be just like League of Legends is, free to play, but you buy various characters. They're following that same model. It's a smart way to go.
It works really well for other companies.
And for Hearthstone, free to play, but you can buy cards and packs and decks and stuff. They didn't announce. They were asked point blank what they were figuring the business model was going to be for Overwatch. They haven't decided yet. They don't know if it's going to be a buy once play forever or if it's going to be FTP with microtransactions.
Just stay away from. Just please, Blizzard, stay away from the hats.
God, I don't see Blizzard giving up that much control to allow people to build content like that.
True, very true. And that's one of the whole thing. Like you can look at Blizzard in the video game industry, kind of like Apple with the computer industry, in the fact that it is a very closed system, very closed
ecosystem.
Ecosystem. But once you're inside that ecosystem, it's flawless. It's amazing. But the moment you step out of it, then you have problems. But at that point, their main goal is to make sure you stay within their ecosystem, and
stay within the ecosystem and maintain the quality within the ecosystem.
Yes,
that's the big thing. And the big thing besides Metallica, the other thing they did was they did the world premiere of the Looking for Group documentary, which basically documents World of Warcraft and how it became what it was and what it's grown into. And they had interviews with various players, including Rob Kaczynski and some other folks, and Christopher Guest's kid, and
right.
And then I actually watched it, and it's up on YouTube now. So if you go to YouTube and search for Looking for Group, it's about an hour 10 minutes. It's really good and really interesting. And they talk, these guys, the original founding members, the first crew of like 6 or 7 guys, are still there. And they've managed to not only get along for as long as they have, but they've all shared that passion and that dream, and they're all just big freaking nerds. but it's a good thing, and it's a really good thing. So if you get a chance to watch that, if you're interested at all in the history of how WoW became the beast it is, you definitely want to watch that. And then of course we had the costume contest, which there was some really cool stuff in there.
There was, and the person who actually won the grand prize, I think, definitely earned it. She totally earned it.
But unfortunately, she didn't get to show on stage because there was a problem with her costume.
Well, it ripped as she was getting on stage.
Well, it tore and broke and another thing. What she did? Do you happen to have the picture? Did they post the picture of what it was?
Not
she
right now.
She did the Empress from the Mantid. And mid-Shaw. They showed a picture of it at the closing ceremonies where she had actually done the Shaw paint on the legs. And it's, wow. I'm just knocked. Yeah, I could see why they gave it to her.
Oh, yeah.
Why she won. But there was a lot of really good costume. Our friend Nick Nienbach was in it. He was in the costume contest. He didn't win anything. And I'm not, unfortunately, surprised, not because Nick does bad costumes. He doesn't. He does great costumes.
Here it is.
But the level of quality. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
That's just impressive as all hell.
Oh yeah, it is.
Took her 2 years to make it.
That's just wow. The level of competition that was in that contest this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I mean, some of the armor pieces, some of the there was one person who did Diablo from Diablo 3. So the female version of Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
She had done it where it's like a hard carapace like it is in the game, and she had lit under it, so you got the glow going through. It was wow. I mean, just there was a lot of really, really cool stuff to the point where I'm inspired. Yeah. And there were two, Nikki and I figured they have to be Blizzard plants, because there were 2 people in the contest in Overwatch characters. The only way they could have done is if they knew about the characters in advance. The only way you can know about the characters in advance
if you
work for Blizzard.
Yeah, I mean, watching the contest just further made me wish that I was there with a camera so I could actually get up close with the shots and see just what the detail was with them. So, dude,
I mean, okay, we need to build a viewer base. So you guys out there, get us a good ton of viewers. We want press passes. We will bring our cameras. We will get you all the pictures. We'll show you all the things. We'll do interviews. We'll do the whole 9 yards.
It'd be fun. But yeah, definitely we need to see if we can get there for next year.
And yes, more random acts of gaming to the chat room.
With all of this? Oh, hell yeah.
Well, see, watching BlizzCon this weekend inspired me to finally get off my ass and reinstall all of my Blizz games. Pretty much, I mean, maybe not the exact episode numbers, but I've got every game Blizzard's got out right now.
Nice.
That being said, I don't have Reaper of Souls for Diablo, and I don't have Heart of the Swarm yet, although I will probably have Heart of the Swarm come payday.
Nice.
So
you'll have to tell me how that is.
It's yeah.
All right. Well, we've already spent this entire episode on BlizzCon, and we could easily spend at least another full hour on all of this. But
just geeking out, yeah.
But I know for what we've been watching, we've watched the same thing, and
one of the same things.
One of the same thing, and that is Big Hero 6.
Yes, I went and saw it this afternoon.
I saw it opening night down at El Segundo, and let's put it this way. I walked out of there, and I went to the ArcLight Theater down in El Segundo, and they have a little store there and whatnot. And, of course, they have, pop vinyl figures. And so we get out of it, and I just go, yeah, this one needs to be bought.
You bought the Baymax?
I bought the big Baymax in the armor.
Nice.
It just kind of scrambled. I looked at it, and the best thing about it was that, I mean, they were marketing it for $15, which is about the average price on Amazon anyways. But they had a problem with their register, so they gave it to me for $10. I was like, even better.
Dude! Luck the hell out.
Yes.
Nightstar's asking if you saw it in 3D or 2D.
I saw it in 2D, but I'm going to see it very, very soon again in 3D.
See it in 3D. Not necessarily 3D IMAX, but definitely see it in 3D. Because that's what I saw it in. And this is one of those occasions where the 3D, it wasn't, for lack of a better term, in your face, like a lot of 3D movies do. Much like Tron, it just enhanced the immersion. The quality of the 3D is phenomenal. Of course, you're dealing with a computer generated, so of course your 3D is going to be pristine. But just they didn't cater to the 3D effect, which was really nice.
Very good. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see it again. So, I am very much a big fan of the fact that Disney, for lack of a better phrase, Disney-fied Big Hero 6 in a big way. They only kept the names of the characters, and that was pretty much it.
Well, yeah, exactly. They didn't follow the comic book, which was completely retarded. Or at least the version of it I read. That they did not follow the comic made me really happy, because I've read the comic and the comic was retarded. I love the character designs, but it sucked. That being said, the movie was really it was a good story. It went for the feels. I mean, I know I talked with other people who've seen it,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, it really went for the feels, like to the point of making them cry. And I could see the parts that were a bit feel heavy,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't affect me like other movies have.
Same here.
I didn't find myself tearing up or jerk. But I mean, I felt the feels, but not the oh my god,
No, yeah.
not like the one part in Toy Story 3, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly which
Where
scene.
I actually, like my eyes were like welling up at that part.
But I agree with you that, I mean, aside from some of the glaring plot holes in there, but there were.
It's a comic movie. Of course, there's plot holes.
Well, yes, I know, but there were several dialogue moments that I believe were just planted there just to focus on getting people to have the feels, and it didn't do anything to move the story forward, or it was just okay. We're gonna have people tear up here before the big end scene, so that everybody would be like, yeah,
Yeah, but it.
But
maybe
that
that was when the stupid child behind me was kicking my chair. But yeah, there was some of that.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing for me, and I want to see it again, so that I can just sit back and enjoy it for what it is. Because you know me when I go see a movie, especially with the a CG movie, is I'm sort of like one thing about being a Gemini, you can split your personality. I'm watching it as the story,
mm-hmm.
but I'm also watching it as the CG whore that I am. And this movie has done what was previously thought to me to be impossible.
Which was?
You've remembered how I stated that in my mind, the best lit movie and overall feel of graphics to me has been The Incredibles.
Yes,
Not anymore. This blows Incredibles out of the water, which is no small feat.
This is very true. That Hyperion engine must have
between the Hyperion engine, the Hyperion engine was just the populace,
mm-hmm.
and what it did. Oh my God, the level of detail in the streets, the people, the fact that they could do that many people in a scene and have every one of them be unique.
Mm-hmm.
But the lighting, oh my God, the lighting was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the scene when they're chasing the Kabuki guy down the street. This isn't a spoiler. Some of it's in the commercial. The bad guy's a guy in a Kabuki mask with these little microbots. Okay,
right.
That's not a spoiler. But when he's chasing them in the van, and he's on the thing running down the street, and the light and the fog going through, it's just like my mouth is just like, OMFG. Wow. Please tell me Disney's going to release this renderer.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching it, and there were several moments I'm like, okay, I already know this is going to be day one purchase when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, I
want
it some kind of bad.
I'm already internally mapping out time frames of this will be a screenshot, this will be a wallpaper, this will be. Well, especially when they're
see several of those.
Especially when they're flying through San Francisco.
Yeah,
and you're seeing.
And that's another thing that they did that was really cool. Is they basically hybridized San Francisco and Tokyo,
and it worked. It really
did work. It worked really well. And to answer the question in the chat room, yes, I stayed through the end of the credits. Are you kidding me? It's a Disney/Marvel movie. You have to sit through the end of the credits.
Backwards and forwards.
That was hilarious. And of course, being that it's a Marvel movie, even though it's CG, Stan had to show up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So don't feel bad. He does. I'm not going to say anything more beyond that because it is spoilerific at that point. But yes, definitely sit through to the end. Although I have to admit that I was kind of like a little bit ew at one point for some of it at the concept.
Mm-hmm.
But I ignored that in the interest of what it was and what they were doing and how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, that's kind of cool. I hope they do a sequel, but if they do a sequel, I hope they get a story.
See, at this point though,
a little deeper, because the story was somewhat formulaic.
It really was,
and shallow, but it was still way better than the comic.
True, and there was a decent amount of world building involved with this movie. I mean, just the sheer amount of tech and lore that they had to put into like the first 30 minutes of the film to everybody go, okay, now I kind of understand where everything's at.
Well, and what else is neat about it is, they went to MIT. They went to, these
Mm-hmm.
large technical groups. They went to Silicon Valley and said, hey, what's the current cream of the crop? What are we looking at in X years' time?
Mm-hmm.
And they went for a semi-realistic bit. Like, there's some of the tech in that movie that's here today.
Yeah.
Case in point, the projected keyboard. You don't have the holo screen, but you have, the projected keyboard. The fact that he's got a 3D printer in his garage,
I want
perfectly feasible.
it is, and I mean at that level that he has, I would love to have something like that. But that is feasible in like what 15 years.
Well, actually, it's funny. I mean, you're not going to be able to do it out of carbon fiber, but the idea of a powder 3D printer that small of a unit
Mm-hmm.
exists today.
Yep.
That Samus Aran armor was printed with one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was I think it was people at MIT were working on inflatable robots to be used in the healthcare industry, which became the basis for Baymax, or this
exactly.
variation of
Or,
Baymax.
well, at least this version of Baymax.
Yeah, because the Baymax in the comic, no.
No, the comic.
Although, when Baymax went dark, and that's all I'm going to say about that scene.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
No, that was just like, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. No, I was watching that going, holy crap, they went there.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I will definitely go see it again.
What I'm really happy about, and I was kind of surprised at the same time, I'm glad I was wrong about who the bad guy was.
Me too, actually.
Because remember how I was saying I'm pretty sure it's going to be Guy X?
Yeah,
I was wrong.
yeah.
And I'm glad I was wrong.
Well, you said Guy X,
But
and
I
I
did
said
not expect who it was.
Mhm.
I was actually surprised at who it was.
I do have to say though, the voice acting for some of the characters was actually really well done. I do like the fact that Alan Tudyk has kind of become the what's the guy name that shows up in every Pixar film? John
Yeah.
Roddenberry or something?
Cliffy.
Yeah. Um,
I forget his name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Alan Tudyk is kind of becoming that with all the Disney movies.
Yeah.
So he plays he voices the owner of that giant company. James Cromwell.
Cray. Yeah.
Which was
Which
the
in
teacher.
itself was an in-joke, by the way.
Yes, very much so. I was like,
There's so many Easter eggs and in-jokes in this.
Well, even in the first 10 minutes, there was nods to not only just like past Disney stuff and some Pixar stuff. Like I remember it was pointed out to me that one of the store's names was Pizza Mau Mau. There, I also saw a model of what's it called, the big giant. I forget the robot one.
Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant was in there. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that I need to go back and actually just look for now.
And the quality of the character design. I mean, we're geeking out a bit, and that's okay. That's what we do.
That's exactly.
The character design, like in the first scene at the bot fight, the announcer chick, the quality of that character design and that render and that motion is like.
And that was just for a bit piece, a bit
piece, and they maintained that quality throughout.
Yeah.
That was, although when the little bot, the face flipped, it was just like, oh my god, that's awesome. A little geeky me was like going, dude, I want one of those.
I know. I'm fully expecting someone in Disney is like, how can we make that an item?
Well, the Baymax and Hero are already in the new Disney Infinity.
Yes.
In 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you? Okay, let's stop geeking out about that quite so much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. What did you think about the opening animation? The accompanying.
Oh, Feast?
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. Let me put this way.
It was not what I expected it to be.
There were we talked about earlier how there were scenes in Big Hero 6 that were designed to try to pull out the feels.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's sad, but I wasn't tearing up.
Right.
I was like,
yeah, I got
so
more emotional at the 6-minute intro animation
for Feast. I was just like,
I got more emotional at that than I did in most of the movie.
Yeah. And even then, just like stepping away from the story, which the thing is, John Lasseter and the rest of the story crew, both at Disney and Pixar, they can take some of the most basic story concepts and just pull at your heartstrings so well.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from the story, the the hybrid animation again that they love to
The
keep on
cel-shaded
improving.
3D. Yeah.
Yeah. Just keeps on getting better and better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And what was really great is none of these were Pixar.
No.
I mean, yeah. Okay, Lasseter's attached, but Lasseter runs the Disney animation thing now.
Yes, he runs both of them.
But
So
I mean, it was all their Burbank house,
Mm-hmm. Well, because
and they have come into their own. I
Well,
mean,
one of
this
the
is
big
light years
things-
beyond Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. I just like the fact that when Lasseter was instilled as the head of both of Disney Animation as well as Pixar, he took a lot of the ideas that made Pixar great and brought it over to Disney, not to make a copycat of Pixar, but to make it its own entity. Things like having the story team at the creative team at the top of like 15 people. The fact that people can have ideas, even the basic animators, and be able to talk to some of the higher-ups with the ideas, and they get fleshed out. In the past, it was
if everybody likes it, they flesh it out. Yeah.
as compared to the past, where it was just always some bean counters like, this toy is popular nowadays. Let's make a movie on that. Go,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Exactly.
So,
Did you see? Where you saw it? Did you have the Pixar trailer?
Yes, you have, the emotion one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it, but at the same time, and I kind of want to ping my contact at Pixar and ask him. That wasn't supposed to be the next Pixar movie.
They
The
announced
next
a bunch
Pixar
of
movie was supposed to be Good Dinosaur.
things must have changed. I
Oh,
know.
I know. I'm gonna ping him and find out. I'm gonna like, hey, dude, what's up with this? Is Good Dinosaur still happening?
Well, it was all talked about all the time at D23. So
What the emotion one or Good Dinosaur?
both.
Oh, okay, so they are still both coming.
Yeah, they are still working on it. So, but all in all, yeah, guys, go see
the
Big
movie.
Hero 6.
Definitely see the movie. I mean, I liked it enough that Nikki, who was completely, I want nothing to do with it. The comic was absolutely retarded, and she's right, it was.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to force her to go see it because I honestly think she'll like it.
Like, F you are.
See my point? It's gonna take some work, but I think I can do it.
Just do it this way. Here, honey, this is a nice, delicious tea. What?
I am not gonna roofie my wife to go see the movie.
Do that just so I would pay money just so you try to take her to the movie theater.
Okay, you're an asshole sometimes. I just want you to know that.
What are friends for? Come on.
Exactly, enabling.
I'm a horrible person. Well, with that, I mean, what else have you been watching, Michael?
I'm current on Flash.
Okay.
Are you?
I am not, but I am current on
bastard.
Doctor Who. I saw the season finale.
I'm still behind on Doctor Who. I know. I'm behind on Doctor Who. I'm still technically behind on SAO.
Okay.
I'm behind on Gotham, and I'm not actually that upset about it. I'm current on Blacklist.
wonder why.
Dude, you so need to get off your ass and watch Blacklist. This show is so well written.
I have so many
And
things.
James Spader kicks so much ass.
I know he's an excellent actor.
Let's see. What else have I been watching? What else am I current on? No, that's pretty much it because I've been busy on other stuff. So
Yeah, same here. I haven't watched really much of anything, including anime. So
well, this is the first weekend where I've not been faced with either going somewhere because friends were in town,
Mm-hmm.
or busting my ass on a costume. So Nikki and I just kicked back and enjoyed it and watched BlizzCon.
Nice.
So
You got to have those times where you can just sit back and do nothing.
it's been a long time since I've been able to do that. So yeah, we did.
Well, I think that's going to be it then. Do you have anything else you want to add, or?
No, I think we're good.
We have a few more things we can talk about. We're going to hold off on those till next week, so I'm sure you guys will probably talk about it plenty by then, but does not matter. We will still talk about it. So
Oh yeah.
thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, stay tuned for post show, and yeah, for Our Mother's Basement. I'm Jason,
And I am Michael.
and we will see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.